And it is Carcone Carne tonight, recording, broadcasting, transmitting from an undisclosed Midwest location. I'm James Van Osdol. I'll introduce the gentlemen around me in a minute. But first, besides this podcast, I'm responsible for two other podcasts. The first being Music of Chicago. That's right, music in a podcast. You can hear music from in and around the city and suburbs every Friday morning. It is music that I have been authorized by the license holders, the rights owners, to play, and that is available on Google and Apple and Stitcher. Not Spotify, though. They don't want it. Also, I produce a podcast for The Double Door. The Double Door is coming back. I'm sure the guys sitting next to me are excited about this. The Double Door, this fantastic Chicago live music, this entertainment institution. On a bi-weekly basis, co-owners Sean and Pete sit down and talk about what it's like and what they have to do to rebuild this brand and to put it in a new space in the Uptown neighborhood. And I humbly predict that Double Door will do for Uptown, its new location, what it did for Wicker Park back in the 90s. I think it's going to be a transformative moment for that area, and you can hear everything from the ground up. The Double Door podcast available pretty much everywhere, including Spotify. All right, so I mentioned we're in an undisclosed location in the Midwest. It's a bucolic, lovely location, and the reason for being here today. To my right, if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, to my right is Stubhy Pandav of Lucky Boys Confusion. To his right is Pat Gilroy of the band One Life. And all you guys have been in other bands, but for the purposes of tonight, there's a reason why I'm identifying you by these bands. To my left, Augie from The Dog and Everything. All these artists, all these musicians, all these gentlemen are part of Songs from a Scene. Returning. Songs from a Scene is coming back. It's coming back for 2 nights to the Bottom Lounge in November. It is something that Stubby has shouldered, quarterbacked, led for many years. And let's start with the dates of Songs from a Scene. The dates are
November 5th and 6th at Bottom Lounge.
All right, and now for a history lesson.
Well, I don't want to. Okay, so I'm gonna be real honest. So Songs from a Scene was something that I took over, and I think that's fair to say, but it wasn't my idea. So what happened is Lucky Boys Confusion was part of this scene with a bunch of really great bands, and I think it's fair to say that we were the leaders, the parents of the group,
the first band to really break out,
right? Let's just call it that.
That's true.
And so that, but that also brought in a whole bunch of other bands from that western suburbs scene, and we made it a point to create this scene out there. Like, you know, we always helped each other out and whatnot. When LBC got our deal and we hit the road, a lot of those bands got together and decided that they wanted to do something themselves. But that idea came from the guy to my right, Pat Gilroy, and he got together with Augie and a whole bunch of other bands and decided to do this compilation CD with Rick Barnes from Rax Tracks Recording. And I should pass this off to Pat because this part of the story really, Lucky Boys, since we were signed to Elektra at the time, we weren't allowed to be on it. But they finally let us put a live track of one of our songs on at the end of the record. We fought, and they said, no, that doesn't make any sense. We're putting a record out for you here. You can't just do this. So we said, okay, fine. But they let us do this. But Pat,
that's amazing. Elektra Records was afraid of a West Suburban band compilation's awesome distribution.
Correct.
Okay.
We couldn't put a song on there because, hey, you know, it might be it's so ridiculous. Major labels and their limited scope is a whole podcast in itself. You know,
all right. So Pat, history.
Yeah, I mean, we had a meeting. It was me, Augie, Steve Kroc, Ramsey. We sat down and we're like, let's put together like the 7 bands in our group. We each did 2 tracks at Rax Tracks, and I think the CD actually turned out pretty amazing, and all the tunes.
awesome.
All the tunes from every band were like pretty much like the epic moments of every band's catalog, in my opinion. I mean, the Play My Tees were on there, cell phone number.
The best Penny and the Loafer song for sure. The Honor Roll, so
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Augie, do you remember any other fun details from those times?
Okay, so I'm having several like mind-blowing remembrances.
Augie's been having fun since he got here.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
this
love
is
that.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
such
I
a
love
good
it.
mood.
I'm coming out of the pandemic. It's a Sunday night, and I'm seeing these guys and you. So I'm remembering the compilation before the compilation.
Oh, when I was in high school?
Oh, Split.
Dude, Split. Like, you guys are talking about this. I'm like, wait, there was a compilation even before that, like, planted the seed, maybe. I don't want to talk about that too much, but it blows my mind. Like, oh, yeah, he started that. And that's how we met you guys and Lucky Boys.
Right.
And then years later.
It wasn't the Dog and Everything. It was Odd Calum.
Actually, I forgot that, too.
And
So it's even.
and Pat told me that my songs weren't radio ready enough, so that that Dog and sorry, Ad Calum was gonna get the first spot, and then we'd get our stuff.
Okay,
I'm
so
like,
we were from Elmhurst, and when you're younger, like what suburb you're from is like a big deal, and like everybody else was from like Dockers Grove, Naperville, and I feel like we came in and we're like, okay, there's all these kick-ass bands, like we got to be in the scene because there's things happening, and we got to get in here because these bands are awesome.
Would you guys have left the area had you known that Rainbow Cone was coming? Would you have all stayed?
Is this a real question?
Sure.
oh yeah.
All right, so here's a scene question for you. This was songs from the scene. That was very emblematic of that time you all came up. Are there still scenes divided by suburb and region in the Chicago area, or has the internet kind of neutralized all that?
This is the thing I talk about a lot with like Dan, the singer from the Dog, and I will produce and like kind of develop certain artists in the burbs.
All I remember about Dan is he's impossibly tall. Is he still tall?
Yes, he's still impossibly tall.
Still impossibly tall, crazy hair.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny these days, like post internet, because we were it's like we always have these conversations with kids. Like, is there a scene? Because there was this scene when we were coming up that really helped us to become better. Because you were playing with awesome bands that made you want to be better than them because they were better than you, and it kind of goes. It just made everybody kind of level up.
Word of mouth is different.
There's still a huge scene. So, I think, in my opinion, there's still a huge scene. But it's instead of the LBCs and the Dog and Everything's and the One Life, or actually back then was Close Enough. Is Real Friends and those bands that have their own, they have their Knockout and Knuckle Pucks and that kind of stuff. There is that scene. I don't know if they have the same community vibe, and I don't want to speculate because I just don't know.
Right.
That's not my place. But I think that they do. I think that they have that like same kind of like scene. And I know that like little after us, not too far after us, was a Fall Out Boy scene with the Academy is and Hush Sound, and they had that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the real friends, and again, not bands that I really listen to, or like I don't know that kind of that music, but I just know that like I know people that are involved in that world, and I know that they have a very very like tight-knit group of friends, and I don't know if they're calling it a scene, but I think they got something going there, you know, where they all play together and like they it's like a thing. So I just don't know if but I think to the James point, I just don't think it's as necessary as it was. It was necessary for us.
That's true.
We
man.
needed to bond together, or we needed to combine our song our fan bases, and we really needed each other. Where I don't think it's necessary anymore that that we're, hey, I'm bringing 40 people, you're bringing 60 people, you're bringing 80 people. Hey, together, let's do it together. Now it's like that part of it isn't there as much because you can just kind of combine with people online.
Yeah, it's changed.
But yeah, I think back then we just didn't have like you played shows or you didn't make it.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. You don't necessarily have to play. Man, Augie, we were playing shows every week. Like, maybe not that much, but like as much as we possibly could, because it's the only way to get our name out.
Yeah, but that's why the scene was fun, because I remember every week on Sundays, me and Augie would go to the Cubby Bear, And then we would go from the Cubby Bear to Metro,
Metro.
because Metro had Q101's Local 101 show.
Mhm.
And
What
we
a
would
bunch
do
of
that
bullshit.
every week. Huh?
No, really, dude. You go to Cubby Bear
He
for the
said
beers
bunch of
and you go to
bullshit.
Metro.
It was great. I mean, like, it was the scene. That was the scene.
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Oh, that's so cool that all these bands are supporting each other," and like fans noticed it, bands noticed it. I don't know if they still have that.
My point was, I just think part of it was us being benevolent and cool to each other. I think the other part of it is just that we needed each other. Like we wasn't going to work without it. It wouldn't have happened without it. Sure, LBC had like movement, and Play My Tees had movement, and Dog and everything. And all you guys had movement, but like it wasn't enough for. We needed movement because we needed to be taken seriously, coming from the western suburbs, because we weren't. It was hard to get anybody from the city to take us seriously, because we look at old pictures of us. I wouldn't have taken me seriously.
Oh,
like,
you with the blonde
like,
streak?
With the blonde streak showing up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God, much mashallah. Like, nobody wanted to listen to me. Like they're like, maybe he's an idiot, but I'm like, hey, listen to a few more songs, and we got this crowd. I swear to God, we have some good stuff. I swear to God, where I'm not just talking about singing about stealing girlfriends. I swear we have some good music.
But dude, I remember meeting you at COD, like way back.
COD.
You and Joe Sell, blonde streak, hanging down, and like we were in the same place. There, we were playing the Burbs, and it was like there was no like scene where people took you seriously.
Yeah.
And the Metro would not call me back. They're like,
No.
"No, dude,
No.
go play Cubby Bear." I'm like, "We're not a cover band."
But if you bring that up to Metro, they don't like that. Sean hates when I bring that up. I go, Sean, you didn't give me a chance at first, and he's like, I helped your career. I'm like, I didn't say you didn't help my career. You did help my
You
career.
made me prove
but
myself.
You didn't give me a shot at first, because we were from the suburbs, and either you were smoking popes, and you were getting that love, and Smashing Pumpkins and getting that love, or you weren't. There weren't other bands from the suburbs that were
You had
getting
to prove
love.
it.
There was and I was like listening to stuff like Cupcakes and all this other stuff that was coming out, and I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I'm like, hey, I'm not doing the same kind of music, but I kind of think mine's just as good.
See, that's the point. It's like I felt like you had to bring kids, or they wouldn't listen.
We had to bus kids in, or they wouldn't
Bring
listen.
the school bus.
Or maybe they were listening to Pat. And they thought that you didn't have any radio-worthy songs.
That's true. I mean,
Whoa.
We just, it's hard to get radio ready.
All right, let's talk about your two bands. Let's talk about One Life. You went away, you came back, you went away, you're back.
One Life is back. We are re-recording our entire catalog with a couple new tunes. Tom from the Play My Tees. There's new tunes. Well, we haven't written them. They're not written yet, but they're coming.
They're so hot.
But Tom from the Play My Tees is putting it out on his label. Humans Were Here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be exciting. We have 2 songs right now finished, going to mastering, so they'll be released soon.
That's amazing. And I would have invited the entire band tonight. I don't have enough chairs for One Life.
Exactly.
A lot of bodies. Respectfully, why do you always look so angry in your headshots? In your
You know
promo
what?
Pictures.
Yes.
Resting bitch face.
Someone just asked that, and I don't know. I mean, I think it looks pretty cool.
I hate that Pat is always in the back of all band pictures. Like, and they posted a picture with their new One Life's new promo picture, and I go, I posted more Pat, please, like, because he's all the way in the back, and my comment got deleted. So yeah, it did. So whatever.
All right, so One
Somebody
Life,
deleted me.
new music on Tom's label. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yes.
And you're all getting along, and
Oh yeah, everyone's friends again. It's good.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
So the Dog and Everything, you were one of those bands. I mean, you seemed like you were right there. You were right there at the turn of the century. Give some background on your band.
First of all, what's right there?
You were so close.
To
Hey Love was a
Like,
hit
it was-
single waiting to happen.
it was I feel
It
it.
was.
Yeah, I feel that. We felt that.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know what's funny? Okay, I'll go quickly back and then we'll fast forward. When we keep talking about the scene, we got so lucky because we came in and it was already Lucky Boys. They were already drawn. crazy amounts of kids in Downers Grove was insane. Already playing Metro, and then we kind of like just started playing with them, and just we fit in.
Were you just
everybody
kind
was
of
cool.
drafting behind them?
Yeah, we were drafting. We fit in. Everybody's cool, and we were able to whatever we did do was because of this scene, because of Lucky Boys, because of Pat, and Stubby knows it's true. Our first CD band show, our CD release show, was opening for Lucky Boys, and it's because that show at House of Blues that we were able to then go on and play Metro and do anything we did do. That's the only
awesome.
reason we were on Songs from the Scene was Stubby gave us a shot.
Well, I mean, thank you. That's a really
You know
nice.
it's true, Dad.
But I know. Okay, listen. The whole point was that. So that's awesome that you. I appreciate you recognizing it because a lot of people are like. So, one thing I'll say is that when I'm gonna say this for all the remaining 3 members and Joe, that it was an altruistic thing. We weren't trying to like sign you to our label. We weren't trying to like. We were just trying to like, hey, it was hard for us to get here. Let's make it easier for everybody else. So I'm glad that you like appreciate it, but it wasn't like. I mean, it was all we were saying is you're really good. More people should hear you. It wasn't like. I'm not knocking the other people that did it that way, and they have a lot more money than me. So like I could have been the Pete Wentz-ish idea and been like, hey, you know what, Dan and Augie, I got this thing going on. You guys want to sign to my label and all the money that you make, I get. No, I just didn't want to do that. I just. Honestly, and maybe I should have, but like, at the same time, it wasn't that. It wasn't about making money off you guys. It was about like, man, these guys music good. Can't we all, like, it felt like this isn't a gang. This isn't a like. Somebody can like your band and my band at the same time.
Yeah.
So why not?
It's not binary.
And just because I help you do well doesn't mean that I should get a cut of it. Like
Right.
that's was the difference.
Yeah.
So like,
Well,
I just want you to know that like it was like what it was is, hey, these guys are awesome.
I mean,
Give them a show.
That's exactly how it felt to us, and that was like, that's the only reason that we then ultimately had any success we had. And it's crazy when you look backwards and you're like, oh, because that show and the song was good, but without that exposure to people hearing Hey Love, it wouldn't have started this thing that we were able to build. It wasn't for you taking us on a tour with like Ritalin kids and something corporate way back.
Sure, but
It's
I
crazy.
think you're forgetting one thing too. What about that radio? That was pretty good too. Wait,
if it wasn't for James Van Osdale,
I was gonna say there was this guy that put you on the radio.
if it was for Pillow Fight, I mean,
I remember being on a panel in a corporate office, and I, amongst all these other people, and James played a whole bunch of songs. He's like, and I'm like, what song do you think should be our song for this next local or
I don't even remember what it was. We had like a band competition of some.
whatever it was? I was like, and then we had to talk about it after. I'm like, well, James, you know that I picked Hey Love because I'm like, they're not only are they my friends, but this song is just
a great
the best.
song.
This is the best song out of all of these, and everybody around the whole table kind of just goes, like, sorry, for the people that are listening only, they were nodding their heads.
Well, it's such. I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole.
Yeah,
but
sure.
What a different time. I mean, Lucky Boys Confusion certainly benefited from radio exposure. The little exposure that 94.7 The Zone afforded the Dog and Everything certainly helped. It was part of it, but
absolutely.
it only went so far. My boss was too big of a pussy to add you into rotation. That's besides the point. What a different time, though. I mean,
I love that. I fucking love it.
That's awesome.
Find me a radio station. Find me an alternative radio station in America that actually has the balls to step up and support a local band, to break a local band. It doesn't fucking exist in 2021. It barely existed in 2003 or 1999. It doesn't exist anymore. Radio's just it's fucked to the core. They're trying to keep the lights on for 6 months. Something that happened to LBC, being on a compilation, getting spins coming out of that compilation, Hey Love getting played, that can't happen anymore. And it's not just a Chicago thing. It is
Well,
pandemic.
the radio just doesn't have the power anymore. It
Well,
just
certainly not.
well because of
I'm
because
doing a radio
because
show in this undisclosed Midwest location.
But I'm
doing
saying, like, I
radio
think
here.
this has more. These kind of things have more
Oh, yeah.
power now.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, that's 100% it. As opposed to a talking head telling you why you should give a shit about 21 Pilots. You shouldn't. So, songs from a scene.
You said you shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
Thank you.
God, what's wrong with people? What
Let me look at Pat real quick. I hate all that stuff.
I love pop music.
I mean, I love pop music too, but
stand it.
All right, so let's talk about these Bottom Lounge shows. First weekend of November, Lucky Boys Confusion, your anchor, your headline attraction, 2 nights in a row. I mean, I have not seen, I've barely seen anything since then, but I've not seen LBC perform live since the MS Sucks benefit at Bottom Lounge. And it's really not, I'm assuming this will be a big, healthy set from Lucky Boys Confusion.
Yeah.
Both nights.
So, we were just talking about that. Like, how cool is it that after all this, we're just going back to where we stopped, right? LBC is going to do headlining sets both nights, and for this is not what the point of this podcast is, but I do want to say, like, I want to really give some love out to our fans that have been like streaming in with the positivity and loyalty with I'm sick. The shows aren't going to be the same. I'm going to have to take a break in between. And it's just what it is. I can't. The shows are going to be different for us going forward. But luckily, we got 2 good singers. So in the meantime, you guys might so for those fans that have been dying to hear some of the Adam songs that are mostly B-sides, and maybe you hear one every other show. You might hear a bunch more of those, and we might throw in some new fun surprises and whatnot. But the show's gonna change a little bit, and I just want people to know that it's just what it is. I have to take more breaks, and I have to do what I can. But we're taking the right steps to give as much of the old LBC experience as we can. And it's gonna be cool. We broke up the set in the right ways that I can sit. So if I sit down for 5 minutes, I get my full energy back. But at the end of a certain amount of time of extending my energy, I can't even. It's not even about hitting the right notes. It's more I can't push hard enough to get the notes out. So what we've done is let's not ruin everybody else's experience here, right? Let's make it right. So the shows are going to change a little bit, but it's going to be awesome. I think you're going to hear a lot of the same kind of tunes, but the pacing of the show of the LBC set is going to be different. But leaving that all aside, because I know our fans are totally fine with it. They all know that it's totally fine with. They're like, hey, and they've been so supportive. They're we're just happy that you're playing.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You don't even need to provide a disclaimer.
I know.
We all get it. We're behind you.
That's a whole another therapy session some other time. But I feel bad that I'm sick. I feel bad that I have to slow it down. But it's, at the same time, it's or I could just not do it anymore. I gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah, you made the right choice.
But yeah, so that all being said, the rest of the pace is gonna be awesome on the set, and it's gonna be and ours is going to be awesome, too. But, I'm just saying, the rest of it's going to be same old rock and roll set from LBC that you expect. It's going to be some of the rarities, some of the obviously all the songs that you expect to hear, all the songs that you are so tired of hearing, but you have to hear it again. So, yeah, hey, guess what? You're going to hear Hey Driver. And you know what? It's going to be at the end of the set. And you know what? Probably Fred Astaire and Boss Man will be at the end of the set, too. That's just how shows go.
I love Hey Driver.
I was about to say, you're saying this people are going to be rolling their eyes. Fucking A, right, you're going to be playing those songs.
It's just so funny. The hardcore fans they're playing Hey Driver again. I go, yeah, it's crazy. It's our biggest hit.
It's a hit song.
It's the Stones are 70, and they're still playing Satisfaction. It's crazy. It's what?
Well, and even though, yes, you've acknowledged that your fans are behind you and they get it,
yeah.
You still have to assume that every time you perform a show, no matter what band you're in, whoever it is, someone is seeing you for the first time in that crowd,
That's exactly the point.
and you have to deliver those songs as if they're fresh and new, and it's 2004 all over again or whatever.
The actual statistic is 10% of the people that are watching you at every show, even when you're headlining, are new fans. I have people that have maybe heard a song,
Right.
or like just kind of like heard it. Oh, I know that song. Like 10%. That's a lot of people.
Interesting.
If you're playing any crowd, like 30 people, if you're playing B Kitchen, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of CD sales. Or
Yeah.
if you're still printing CDs, then you're an idiot. But
Lot-
whatever,
lot of
whatever.
T-shirts and pins and
Yeah,
and
whatever.
hoodies and
Is there still merch? Do people do people still buy music? No.
Quote
Dude,
of the podcast: Is there still merch?
there is still merch. I'll have you know, I've said this over and over again on this podcast. My vinyl purchasing has reached
Me too.
absolute illness levels. Like I can't control it. I'm expecting at some point tomorrow for my Halloween Kills vinyl soundtrack to arrive at my house, the special orange splatter 500 pressing edition. I can't stop myself. So yes, people are still buying merch. I'm still excited about Bandcamp Friday every month. Anyway, so break this down. Kastub, all right, do you guys have the lineups in your head for both nights? If I ask
That's
you the
an-
lineups.
That's a perfect Kastub answers. They should.
No, Kastub, you've got business to take care of. Pretend we're at an LBC show. This is one of those breaks he was talking about. This is where Adam Cryer would be singing.
All right, Crier, go for it.
I can look it up right now.
All right.
Hey, drive it to the top of the.
So One Life is playing one of the nights. The Dog and Everything is playing one of the other nights. And I just don't have the lineups for each night organized in my head. And before I came out to this undisclosed Midwest location, I decided it would be too hard to have notes on me. I just figured you guys would know it. But
James, we should. And I'm surprised you don't.
What night is The Dog and Everything playing?
So we're playing Friday.
Playing Friday night. One Life is playing Saturday.
We're playing Saturday, and a quick side note, which is pretty funny, is that Dan from The Dog and Everything is actually recording all of the One Life vocals.
Oh yeah,
Wait, he's recording all the vocals.
yeah. If you
At-
work
at
with
Tom's
Tom,
studio.
yeah. If you work with
I see what you're
Tom,
saying. Got it.
what happens is you fly to Malibu, and then you work with Dan. It's like this thing.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it's kind of like we're in this like flux capacitor from 2000 where
It's
One
kind of
Life
it's
is
kind of
back
like
with the plain white tees with the Dog and Everything.
Dan and I have spent a lot of time working with Tom over the years, and kind of writing and producing a lot of artists that he is developing. And One Life is not one of those artists.
That's amazing.
It's so amazing. I mean, Tom has been like the most hardcore fan for as long as I know.
I love it. And don't tell Tom I said this. One Life is cuter than Fairview.
Amazing.
I just like, like oh.
Cuter than Fairview.
Cuter than Fairview.
I mean, Fairview's pretty cute, so I mean,
I just laugh like
that's it's all Chris Mason. We know.
All right. So Stubby, first of all, get that man a beer.
I'm just gonna say that I'm pulling beers out of a Build-A-Bear.
Is that what it is?
Bag.
It is?
Okay, so
my baby just bought a Build-A-Bear. Her name is Liberty, and that's where I put my beer.
Friday,
And she tells me
November
they're
5th.
illegal.
Friday, November 5th at Bottom Lounge is Till Morning, the Gelheads, the Dog and Everything, and Lucky Boys.
Wait, stop right there. That's a lineup.
That's a huge lineup. The Gelheads are back.
The Gelheads are back till morning. I mean, representing kind of where the scene is moving to.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I love it. Okay, so Saturday night.
Saturday is Temple of Dome, Take the Reins, One Life, and Lucky Boys.
How do you pick? You don't. You go to both nights.
And Temple of Dome is Stubby's brother's new band.
Sarang?
Yes.
Oh, Get Out. I haven't even heard this band yet.
So another exciting lineup. And Take the Reins, of course, punk rock from the Burbs. Gotta love them.
Gotta love Take the Reins. I swear to you, they must be some of the most aggressive guerrilla marketers in the scene. I see their stickers literally everywhere, city and suburbs. They're really, they're expert at getting their name out there, and they're super fun live. I think the last time I saw them was opening up for AM Taxi, actually, at Reggie's.
I saw them at what was the place in Elmhurst that was
Fitz's?
Fitz's,
Oh,
yeah.
Fitz's, yeah.
Yeah, they're super fun, great players. Courtney's a delight to watch as a front
No,
person.
they're great. They're awesome.
I thought you were going to say they're the best group. Oh, you can't hear me.
Stubby thinks he could talk without the microphone and still be on
I
the
thought you were going to
podcast.
say they were the best guerrilla marketers since LBC, but whatever, fine.
That whole era. I mean, you guys were great at it. I think back from that same period, OK Go was exceptional at being guerrilla marketers. I think they delivered.
Also, great guys.
Agreed, but they were like masterclass level guerrilla marketers. Like everyone knew who they were before they even did a show practically. That's the way to do it.
Well, and you know, as I'm getting to the twilight ages of my career, I'll say this: I didn't care for their music, but I really cared for their videos, how they did things. And it's like you know, like it wasn't like I didn't like their music. It was just like, you know, it was just like, I just knew OK Go. All of us knew OK Go because, man, they just knew what they were doing way ahead of their time. You know, when you just go, man, if they were just here now. Oh my God, that video with the treadmills.
Oh God,
they were just they just were smart, you know.
So here we are. We've got these shows coming up at Bottom Lounge. I'll be at least one of them, and I'm super excited. The idea of being inside, seeing live music, seeing you guys again. This is thrilling.
As long as you're at one of the shows that LBC plays, I'm cool.
I'll be for sure at one of the LBC shows. That
Oh boy,
weekend.
Pat, how are we going to decide this?
And it's worth noting there are mitigation standards in effect. You do have to be vaccinated so we can enjoy live music safely together, which is
Yes.
thrilling to me.
Yes.
All right, so that's happening. I'm excited about this. I lost my train of thought, but the bottom line is you're doing these shows. How does it feel to have this concept, this community live music concept back on stage in 2021?
So that was a big thing for me. The bass player from Lucky Boys Confusion, Jason Charles John, is kind of getting sick of all these like 20-year promotions, because he does a lot of our marketing and promotions and stuff. He's like, Stubby, not another one, man. Fuck you, dude. You're like, come on. Like, can I just do something? He's like, I'm like, okay, we don't have to do 20 years, but we have to do Sounds from a Scene this year because it's been 10 years since we retired it, right? And it's the perfect time. It's like the whole pandemic is kind of slowing. Well, you know, whatever. We're getting to the point where we can play shows, and I was like, it's gotta be. And what were we gonna do? I loved being like, we gotta do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this thing in my head where I was like, no, I'm gonna fight for this one. Like, because I gave up on a lot of the other, because he's like, I'm tired of this. I'm like, that's fine, but this one, I'm not gonna fight. You have to. We have to do this. This is so cool. It's Songs from a Scene. If we can do it, and then things opened up that we could do it. It's so amazing, and I love it. And I love the biggest thing for me was these guys. It just happened to work out. Wanted to come back and do these guys, meaning One Life. Sorry for the people that are listening.
Mm-hmm.
These guys. I'm pointing at Pat. One Life. We're planning on doing this anyway. And then when I called you, Augie, and Dan, I was like, guys, this is a big one. This isn't just like, hey, get back together for, just come and play with come and play with LBC. You're like, nah, no.
Right, and I know like Kevin Singleton was like, yes, get both of these bands back together.
Yes.
I mean,
Kevin Singleton is the booker of Bottom Lounge.
Thank you.
He is. So when I told him, he's like, what are you thinking for the bands? I'm like, don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing. And I go, and I really said that. Don't you worry. I'm going to figure it out. He's like, are you going to tell me? I'm like, no, I'm not. And in that typical Stubby asshole fashion, I go, no, I'm going to figure this out and I'll let you know. And once I got you both, I'm like, when I get it both down, I'll let you know. And then when I loved the fact that we go, the two big, the big main attractions outside of LBC, the dog and everything in One Life. Once we got you both, I go, Kevin, I don't know what the other four bands are going to be, but let's go with this. And it was awesome. Boom! It was like everybody's like, oh my God, One Life on the dog? Are you kidding me? Pardon me, of course, my own person insecurity goes, wait, what about me? No, of course I'm kidding. But it was awesome.
No, you're not.
People. Well, no, I mean, come on. Before we announced you guys, we already had half the show sold out. So whatever, it's not a big deal.
There we go.
Oh,
Perfect. Perfect. You got to flex a little bit.
Yeah, Pat just poked the bear. He knew what was going to happen.
No, it's all right. And that's
Cause
a lie.
it-
By
cause
the way,
and
that's
effect.
a total lie. It's not true. It's just like something I like to say. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was just a couple hundred tickets. But like it was like whatever. But it really wasn't half. But it was just fun. It was awesome to see that. And then once we added the other bands, it was like let's just, like it was awesome. And then we get to like stretch out and like reach out to other people. I know. I'll talk about Tupelo Dome in a second. But we can talk about this other stuff first. Well, okay. That was my transition for you to talk about.
First time playing.
Why you wanted to do this one instead of all the other ones that I've asked you to do for me?
So look, we've been asked to play some reunion shows over the years, and just this one, I don't know. It's Dan and I talked about this one. It's funny. Dan, the singer from The Dog, like we don't know if it's COVID, and how that kind of changed how you feel about performing. You always had the opportunity to, but now it's like you kind of didn't for a while. That's scary. And maybe a little bit of getting older and looking back at certain times and being like, man, that was cool, man. These songs live on in perpetuity, and being able to then to connect with an audience again felt really amazing. But when Dan came to my house and said, dude, Stubby, you won't believe this. Stubby texted me. He said, songs from a scene, Dog and Everything 30-minute set.
Only 30?
Wrong. 45.
There it is.
He upgraded us. He upgraded. After we said, yeah, he's like, all right, we'll give you 45. But no, it's just the timing seemed perfect. Like
I'm only going to interrupt you for a second. The only reason I said 30 minutes in the first place was for both of your bands because you guys were getting back together. I was like, to make it easier. No, honestly, I was thinking like, hey man, you only have so many practices. You only have so much time. And then when I
You guys aren't getting any younger.
Well, I was like, Adam's like, well, are you sure? I'm like, I'd love to give them more. I just don't want to like pressure him to like get 45 minutes together. And when I talked to both of you guys, you're like, yeah, we'll totally take 45 minutes. Like, oh, go, yeah, let's roll.
I mean, we could fit the hits in 45. We could fit
Oh, yeah.
the hits in 30.
All right, so Pat, what does it mean for One Life to play?
It just feels good for everyone to be back together and happy, and it's the original lineup. There was like when we posted the new pictures, everyone was joking, is this like 2 Life, 3 Life, 4 Life, or 5 Life? And it's like, this is One Life, and it's the original lineup that started the thing. There was
I fucking love that so much.
there was multiple versions of the band, but
Because Stubby's just loudly swearing in this undisclosed Midwest location, carrying knots if there are neighbors. Who knows? We're in this it's like Area 51. No one knows what's going on over here.
everybody in the band is super excited to be playing, and it's gonna be great. I think it's the best sounding version of the band ever, which is awesome. So,
Dude, I love the Stubby told me like One Life's playing, and like I shit you not, that night on Facebook, someone from One Life posted like video of them rehearsing. Like they didn't mess around. They're like, let's start jamming, dude.
I love it.
our first One Life show was at the Fireside Bowl with the Dog and Everything.
What year?
2003.
Wow.
Yeah, we only played there once, so I remember that one, man.
Yeah, they didn't want you guys to play there.
No, they're like,
we
you
got
too
you
pop.
in.
You can't play here.
Yeah. We got Brainiac and Dianoga moving in here. We have
You
no room
can't.
for you guys.
Get out of here, dogs.
Thank you, Brian Peterson. Love you.
I love Brian Peterson. He's awesome. But I'll have to say I have to add in the One Life part of it because I was in a band with the 3 of the main members of One Life with Super FA Fun Club. So there's like a little bit of a personal like love to see. Pat came over to my house before we came over here, and he was talking like, oh man, Chris, their drummer, who was also the drummer of a band that me and Pat were together with, Super FA Fun Club, is back from Nashville, and he's like, man, it's so good to see. It's like part of them like getting back together feels like I'm not there, but I feel like I'm kind of like getting back together with them too, because like I'm so like close with those guys. It's just amazing. And even the guys that I'm not was never in a band with, Steve Mueller and Eric Burrell and Ryan Armour are such good friends, you know. Like it just like feels so good, like just see them posting these pictures and like seeing you all the way in the back, but like even though the most important member of the whole band, all the way in the back. Oh wait, am I biased? Yes. Sorry. It's just what it is. Yeah, it was so nice. And then, man, I was so nervous when I texted Dan. And I was like, man, they're going to give me the same old.
What percent did you think?
I don't want to do it, man. What about tall animals? And I'm like, well.
I kept telling them to hit you up. I'm like, dude, get the freaking dog for this show.
Tall animals can't open for LBC, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, man. Like I was like, man, we got to do this. We got to do this. And Dan's like, his response back was like, yeah, man. And I heard his voice too, going, yeah, man. Yeah, man. And I'm like, oh my God. I texted the man. I think I'm going to get the dog, dude. I'm going to get the dog. It was so cool.
We're
All
so
right.
excited.
Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
give us the elevator pitch for your brother's band.
Oh,
We're playing Saturday night.
So, my brother is a musician. He's just he did Swillertree, and he did the same role he played the same role as I played in my band, right? Where he's just a lead singer. He for some reason he can write some decent stuff, right? And that's what it was in the beginning. And I was okay with that role in my band, and I was like, all right, cool. You know, I'm gonna put in my stuff, and I got better as a musician as the years went along. But he goes, nah. He's a couple years younger than me. He got an earlier start than I did. I didn't even pick up my first guitar until I was 19 years old. So it was I already had bad habits and how I was doing stuff. I just couldn't get to that point. But he wasn't. He was 14, you know, and he just went, worked. And when his other band broke up, he goes, I'm going to do this on my own. So this time he got a whole bunch of guys together, and he goes, I'm going to make some music. He calls me brother. He's not allowed to say my name. So this is our culture. And he goes, hey, brother, I'm going to make a band. I'm like, all right, cool. You're going to make a band? All right, cool. I'm like, are you going to actually do a band? He's like, I'm like, all right, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I don't know if I can make the band all happen. I go, okay, you're going to do this band. I really like this music that you're doing. You're going to put a band together. And he goes, okay, fine, maybe, if the right show comes along.
Okay,
Bam!
There it is.
Bam! I go, all right, we're doing songs from a scene this year. Can you put a band together? And he goes, I don't put a band together. I'm giving you 6 months.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
Totally reasonable.
And he goes, I'll do it, brother. And I was like, all right, you're going to be first. He's like, it's fine. I want to be first. He's like, then I can watch the rest of the bands. I was like, oh, what a musician's response. Like,
It's a
then I
glass
get
half
to, then I
full.
can watch the rest of the bands. You know, like, oh yeah. So they're awesome. It's very different than his old band Swillertree. It's more rock, but it's if you liked the Swillertree songs that were written by my brother, you're gonna love Temple of Dome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so that's on the Saturday night bill. It is 2 nights. It is Songs from Scene at Bottom Lounge. You can get tickets from the Bottom Lounge website. You hear this stuff over and over. It's true. Get them while you can. These are special nights. It's a 10-year anniversary situation, and you heard the lineups for both these nights. Get your tickets now. These guys sitting here will see you at those shows. You will see them. I'll be there too. It's amazing. Guys, thank you so much for
I want to say one real quick thing, James.
for finding your way to this undisclosed Midwest location. It's a pleasure to have you. Go ahead, Kastoop.
I'm such an asshole.
Fucking front man.
No, that all I was gonna say is every time that people you say this, or like I'll be on their show with you or doing these things, and they'll be like, man, you guys said that tickets were available, and then the last week you went to go buy them and they're not there because there's a bunch of tickets available now. But what happens is they exponentially start selling.
Yeah,
that's all I was trying to
As
say.
the dates get closer, I mean, it just people don't take it seriously till they have to take it seriously.
That's all I was trying to say. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
It's okay, bro.
I want to cry.
It's all right. It's a podcast.
Let's go,
it's all
bro.
good. It's all good. All right, guys, I cannot wait to see you. Thank you for spending a Sunday night with me,
Thank you, James.
talking music,
Thank you.
sitting by a fire pit, which is slowly dying out. I'm feeling a little chilly right now. This is actually perfect. This is like a sundial or something.
I was just gonna say, look at that. Yeah, it's perfect. You don't have to stay out here long.
Like when you feel cool, it's time to end the interview.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Support these guys. 10 years later, Songs from a Scene, returning to Bottom Lounge.
Boom.
Hell yeah.